If you've ever tried chewing cloves and felt nothing change, if you've heard people over 60 swear by them, but quietly wondered if you were doing something wrong, this video is for you, my friend. There's a reason it didn't work, not the cloves. After 7 days of chewing cloves a different way, 3 things shifted in my mornings that I genuinely didn't expect. Before I tell you what they were, I need to show you 3 mistakes most seniors are making. One of them quietly cancels everything else. Quick note: I'm not a doctor, and nothing I share replaces a real conversation with yours. This is information from research and one experiment, not prescription, just one neighbor talking to another. I had to learn this myself. After 60, your body responds to small daily habits in a different rhythm than it did at 40. Things that worked for someone at 35 may not move the needle for you at 68. And that gap isn't a sign of weakness, just biology becoming more careful about which signals it answers. Your body isn't broken. The signaling between your nervous system and your digestive system has slowed down. It needs cleaner, more deliberate input. This is exactly where most clove advice falls flat. You watch a video, the person says chew a clove every day, it'll help with digestion or blood sugar. So you try it. You bite down once or twice. Swallow, get on with your morning. A week later, nothing's different. You feel a little frustrated, maybe a little foolish for hoping. But the truth is, the way you used the clove never gave your body a chance to use it back. 3 things were probably going wrong at once. The first one is the most common, and once you fix that one alone, you'll likely feel a difference inside the first week. I'll get to all 3 mistakes in a minute. But first, let me tell you about Patricia. Patricia is 68 lives outside Knoxville, Tennessee, and called her sister last spring, saying she'd been chewing cloves for 3 weeks and absolutely nothing had changed. Her sister, who was a nurse for 30 years, asked her one question. The answer told her exactly what was wrong. We'll come back to Patricia. Mistake number 1. Chewing too fast. Most people put a clove in their mouth, bite down 4 or 5 times, and swallow within 15 seconds. They treat it like a vitamin pill with extra steps. The problem is, the active compound in cloves, eugenol, needs time to release into your saliva. And your saliva is the delivery vehicle. Crush it fast, and most of what you wanted to absorb gets swallowed whole and broken down by stomach acid before it can do anything useful. The right way is closer to 60 seconds. Place 1 whole clove between your back teeth. Crush gently. Let the oil mix with saliva for a slow count to 30. Then chew once or twice more and let it sit on your tongue. Total time around a minute. That's it. This is what Patricia's sister told her on the phone. "Honey, how long are you chewing it?" Patricia said, "About 10 seconds. Her sister laughed kindly and said, "Try a full minute. Just 1. Tomorrow morning. Tell me what happens." Patricia did. Within 4 days, she noticed her after-breakfast bloating was lighter. Nothing dramatic. Just a little more comfortable, a little less heavy. If anything I've shared so far has made sense to you, the kindest thing you can do is hit subscribe. It's a small click, but it tells YouTube to show this video to more people over 60 who could use it. That's all I'll ask. Now, mistake number 2, the one that cancels almost everything else. Mistake number 2, wrong timing. Most clove videos tell you to chew 1 a day. They don't tell you when. So people do it whenever they remember, sometimes on a totally empty stomach first thing in the morning, sometimes right before bed, sometimes randomly during the day. None of those are wrong, exactly, but 2 of them work much better than the third. On a completely empty stomach. The eugenol can be irritating to the gut lining for some seniors, especially if you're prone to reflux or have a sensitive stomach. You'll feel a small burning sensation behind the breastbone sometimes, 10 or 15 minutes later. That's a signal to stop, not push through. Right before bed isn't ideal either. Cloves have a mild stimulant effect on saliva and digestion. The whole point of bedtime is to let your system settle, not gear up. The window that seems to work best, based on what I've read and what I tested, is about 10 to 15 minutes after a small meal. Breakfast is ideal. You're not on an empty stomach, but you're also not fighting a heavy digestive load. Your body has the bandwidth to actually use what the clove offers. Mistake number 3, too much too often. This one surprised me. Many people, once they hear cloves are good for them, jump to the idea that more must be better. So they chew 2 or 3 at once every single day, sometimes morning and evening. But there's a real reason to be careful. Eugenol, the same compound that gives cloves most of their researched benefits, can mildly affect blood clotting. In normal kitchen amounts, what you'd sprinkle in a stew, it's a non-issue. But concentrated daily intake of multiple whole cloves over weeks may matter for some people, especially anyone on a blood thinner like warfarin or anyone with a clotting disorder. The amount that shows up most often in the research is small. 1 whole clove, 2 to 4 times a week, not every day, not multiple at once. Your body responds better to gentle spaced signals than to a constant push. If you're a healthy senior with no blood thinners and no clotting issues, you have more flexibility. But the principle still holds. Less at a time, spaced more carefully with attention but paid to how your body responds. That's what works, not heroic doses. So those are the 3. Chew slowly, time it right, keep the dose modest. What I want to share next is the part most channels skip entirely. Why does any of this work? What's actually happening between a clove and your nervous system? Stay with me. The answer is simpler than the science papers make it sound, and once you see it, you'll never chew a clove the same way again. Picture your digestive system as a kitchen, not a high-end restaurant kitchen with 12 stations running at once. A small home kitchen, the kind most of us actually cook in. Before you start cooking, what do? You preheat the oven, you take the cold meat out of the fridge, you put the kettle on, you set the table. The actual cooking goes faster and tastes better because you prepared. Your stomach works the same way. Before food arrives, it needs a signal to wake up, to start producing acid-release enzymes, get the blood flow going. That signal doesn't come from food. It comes from your mouth, your tongue, your nose. The smell, the taste, the chewing motion itself. When you chew a clove slowly, you're sending an unusually strong get-ready signal. The bitter and warm and pungent flavors are exactly the kind your nervous system was built to read. Your stomach starts waking up about 15 minutes earlier than it otherwise would and produces the acid and enzymes it needs to handle whatever's coming next. Without that heavy, slow feeling many of us know too well after 60. That's the part you can feel. Lighter mornings, less heaviness after meals. Not magic. Just a kitchen that was finally given time to preheat. I want to share what the actual research shows, because most channels handwave this. Eugenol, the main active compound in cloves, has been studied for decades. Most of it is laboratory work, not human trials, and that's an honest limitation we should keep in mind. The research on clove extract, summarized by the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, points to mild antibacterial activity in oral and digestive contexts. Modest, not miraculous. The same agency notes that eugenol applied topically may have analgesic properties for tooth pain, which is why your grandmother probably remembers it from old dental remedies. What's missing from the research is bigger. We don't have large, long-term human trials on whole clove chewing in seniors. We don't have studies on what daily chewing for months does to blood markers in people over 65. So when I tell you what I noticed in 7 days, I'm telling you my experience and pointing to research that gestures in a similar direction. Not proof. A reasonable hypothesis worth testing carefully in your own kitchen with your doctor in the loop. This is exactly how I did it in case you'd like to try. Day 1 through 3. 1 whole clove 10 to 15 minutes after breakfast. Chew slowly for a full minute. Spit out the fibrous bit if you'd rather not swallow it. It's a tiny amount of fiber either way. Notice how you feel an hour later. 2 hours later, end of the day. Write 1 sentence in a notebook each evening, just 1. Day 4. Skip. Yes, skip a day. Your body responds better to spaced signals than constant input. Day 5 and 6, same as days 1 through 3. 1 clove after breakfast, slow chew journal, 1 line. Day 7, skip again. Reflect on the week. What I noticed by day 7 was 3 small things. My morning bloating was lighter. My breath felt cleaner without effort. And I had less of that mid-afternoon urge to snack on something sweet. None of these are dramatic. None of these will happen for everyone. But what I noticed lines up with what some research and a lot of traditional practice suggest may happen for some people. If you don't notice anything that's also useful information, your body is honest. Listen to it. I want to be honest with you about something most channels won't say. This isn't for everyone. If you're on warfarin or another blood thinner, please skip this and talk to your doctor first. Eugenol's mild effect on platelets matters in your case. If you have active stomach ulcers, mouth sores, or a history of clove allergy, this isn't the right tool for you. And if you're scheduled for surgery within 2 weeks, stop any clove practice and tell your surgeon. So that's the full picture. 3 mistakes that most seniors make with cloves. The why behind them. Some research with its honest gaps. A simple 7-day plan you can try or not try, depending on what's right for your body and your doctor. If this was useful to you, 2 things I'd ask. Subscribe. It's the kindest signal you can send YouTube that videos like this should reach more folks who need them. And in the comments, tell me one thing. Have you ever chewed a clove the way I described slowly for a full minute? Yes or no? I read every comment, and your honest answer helps me know what to make next. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me, my friend. Take good care of yourself.